And so we reach the end of what has been a wonderful 9-day funeral, where the Queen's coffin has travelled the length of Great Britain and thousands queued for days just for a momentary glimpse of her wooden casket. Our beloved Queen has finally been laid to rest in the vaults of Windsor Castle. In some ways it's disappointing that nobody considered a world coffin tour, or at least a coffin tour of the Commonwealth. Nobody could have suspected what a wonderful draw a coffin would be. Nobody knew there was such a huge potential audience for coffin spectators out there. Even now, people who work in television are having meetings across London to try and come up with a Saturday night reality TV coffin format. Something like, Whose Coffin Is This? A show where a panel of celebrities tries to guess which famous deceased person is about to be conveyed into an incinerator, and whoever comes up with the right answer gets the ashes to take home with them. It can't be any more distasteful than Britain's Got Talent. In all seriousness, it was a wonderful send-off for the Queen, full of pomp and ceremony apparently. I couldn't watch it myself because I don't pay the licence fee, because I'm not prepared to fund what is essentially a Marxist nonce club. But I think the question we were all asking was, why only 9 days of mourning? Can we have strung the various gloomy ceremonies out for a month, or a whole year even? It all flew by so quickly, with blanket coverage in the newspapers and on TV. Thank goodness nothing else whatsoever happened in the world this week, so that our news outlets could focus entirely on the Queen's passing. Of course, inevitably, there are a few things that threaten to spoil the occasion. Trains weren't running yesterday because of power cable damage, so thousands of people wanting to line the streets to say goodbye to the Queen were unable to do so because we have a rail network of overpaid, lazy, corrupt, incompetent shirkers. Justin Trudeau came to London to represent Canada at the Queen's funeral, but once again humiliated his entire nation, this time by publicly singing Bohemian Rhapsody in a London hotel as if he were drunk at a wedding reception in an Essex golf club. Still, it's nice to see him take a break from freezing the bank accounts of Canadian truckers, and from dressing up in blackface, and from bootlicking Klaus Schwab. Geriatric puppet President Joe Biden came over for the funeral but refused to travel with all the other international heads of state, then arrived late and had to sit plonked at the back of Westminster Abbey behind the President of Poland, which didn't really matter because he had absolutely no idea where he was, what he was doing there, or how he got there in the first place. Earlier in the week, Philip Schofield disgraced himself by skipping the queue to view the Queen's coffin. But to be fair, he can't be expected to queue all day. He's a busy man. He's got 18-year-old boys to chase after. Meanwhile, Mohammed Rahman carried out a knife attack on 2 police officers in Leicester Square, and the usual race grifters took to the streets in protest at the police shooting of Chris Cabba, a criminal with a previous 3-year conviction for possession of a firearm, who drove straight at an armed police officer in an Audi registered on the police database as being linked with a gun-related crime. Apparently, this is another example of police racism, and obviously none of us are going to disagree for fear of being cancelled. King Charles III alarmingly had a meltdown over a leaky pen. If he can't keep his composure in the face of dysfunctional stationery, then it might end up being a short reign for him. Royal nonce Prince Andrew went running full pelt towards every tabloid and TV camera he could spot, pulling his best victim face, whilst Meghan Markle managed to squeeze a single tear out in what was indubitably her best acting performance to date. And now the 9-day funeral is over and we can all go back to normal. We can all go back to not being able to afford our home energy bills, our food shop, or any petrol for our cars. We can all go back to avoiding urban areas just in case we get hacked at with a machete by someone oppressed who just wants our phone, our bank cards and our shoes as reparations for the crimes of colonialism. It's a new era, it's a new day. Let's all keep trying to cling on to our sanity. God save the King!